Welcome to Enlightenment at the Movies. I'm your host, Patrick Brummel, and today I want to review and look at why we love the 2000 Academy Award-winning film classic, Gladiator. The story of Gladiator opens as the dying Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius, tells his loyal general Maximus that he plans to name him as his successor. The emperor wants Max to restore the power of the Roman Senate and give the empire back to the people. It's a tremendous responsibility and a heavy burden for Max, who only wants to return to his wife and child after years of fighting for the empire. But Max is loyal to the dying emperor, and so he reluctantly agrees to the duty. But when the emperor's power-hungry son Commodus learns of the plan, he murders his father in cold blood. Then Commodus orders that Max be killed so he can secure his claim to the throne. But in a thrilling battle, Max overwhelms his executioners and escapes. But Max's freedom is short-lived, as he's captured and sold into slavery to be turned into a gladiator and forced to fight to the death for the mob. Prior to his enslavement, Max had served the empire and greater good for years, all the while longing to return to his family. But when they're slaughtered by Commodus, Max is shattered and heartbroken, and he falls deeply into depression. And so we see him abandon his beliefs and morals, his connection with the greater good. In the beginning of Max's journey as a gladiator, he braves incredible odds and performs tremendous feats of courage and fighting skill. But his heroics are done in the name of death only. He craves death in the arena so he can be reunited with his loved ones. He is on a suicidal mission, but the mob falls in love with the spectacle of this frightening and awe-inspiring killing machine he has become. He is no longer a man with principles or character. He is just a murderer. But then fate intervenes again, when Max and his fellow gladiators are sent to Rome to perform for Commodus in the Colosseum. It's a dangerous situation for Max, since the murdered emperor's son has already ordered Max's execution once and believed him dead. But through his courage and skill in the Colosseum, Max wins over the masses and then reveals his true identity to a shocked and furious Commodus. But can Max use this newfound popularity to avenge the deaths of his loved ones, or will Commodus finally have him killed? All the odds seem in the young emperor's favor. He's the ruler of the most powerful nation on earth, and Max is just a slave, the lowest of the low. But Max has the mob on his side, and Commodus fears the mob. So for the moment Max is safe, but he's in a horribly dangerous position, and he could be murdered at any moment. But all Max dreams about is living long enough to have his revenge on Commodus. The two seem destined for a bloody end, with the empire the loser, no matter how it turns out. But then the unexpected happens. Max's former lover, Lucilla, the daughter of Marcus Aurelius, tells Max about how the people of Rome are suffering, and it's then that his outlook begins to change. She begs Max to help her end the empire. Like her father, the murdered Marcus Aurelius, she calls on Max's sense of duty and honor. And it's in that moment that we see Max return to his essential nature, to remember who he once was as a general and servant of the people. He tells Lucilla he will summon his former legion and overthrow Commodus. But he's not fighting just for revenge anymore. He's fighting for love, for the dream of Rome and freedom. It is the cause that Marcus Aurelius once inspired in him, a cause he has fought all his life for, a cause he had lost but has rediscovered, to fight again for a higher good. And it's only when Max returns to the ideals that he lost that he finally finds peace, and will ultimately be reunited with his loved ones in the afterlife. But to heal his heart, Max must embrace his own inner woundedness and vulnerability. He must embrace his own broken soul with love and acceptance. He must find the vulnerability and strength to lead his fellow gladiators and save Rome. This aspect of Max's journey resonates so deeply with us because it's the epitome of the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell described. That in order to find wisdom in life, we must first embrace our broken and wounded parts. That transcending isn't about disconnecting from pain, but accepting and surrendering our pain and loss to a higher power and cause. In the movie, that higher cause for Max is Rome, and the higher power is his love for his family. In our own spiritual journeys, we also surrender our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions to a higher power. We release our resistance and identification with them into the hands of God or awareness, to be melted in that divine fire, so that everything can be known as a face of that divinity. In the character of Lucilla, we encounter another aspect of this integration. She starts out focused on her ambitions. She wants to be the woman behind the throne. She wants Max as a sexual plaything. She wants her son to be emperor one day. She is rich, ambitious, spoiled, and cynical. But through the suffering she experiences when her brother becomes a tyrant, we see her heart being cracked open, and she's able to see Max for who he is, another soul hurting and wanting to be reunited in love. In her acceptance of Max's woundedness, she accepts her own wound and finds a strength of responsibility to help lead the empire out of the madness of her brother's reign, to come back to the wisdom of her father. Through the acceptance of her own woundedness, she finds forgiveness, strength, and love for the people her father lived to serve. And finally, as Max dies to free the empire from Commodus, she honors his sacrifice. Is Rome worth the life of one good man, she asks. We believed it once. Make us believe it again. He was a soldier of Rome. Honor him. And so completes her transformation and Max's. They are no longer living solely for death, revenge, or ambition. They have come home to the higher love Marcus Aurelius nurtured in them. They had become servants to a higher power. I'm Patrick Vermille, and it's been an honor to be your host for Enlightenment at the Movies reviews and looks at why we love Gladiator.